So thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon. And I'll ask the panelists to join me. I think it will be easier for us to get started. It's a pleasure to be here. And congratulations for the MxD team for the great event. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a great conversation here that will also add to the value that this conference brings. As Yella said, Rodrigo Cambiaghi, I'm based out of the US, and I lead our global operations team. Have the pleasure to work in many different industries, a lot of them from OEMs to suppliers, all different sizes and scale in very different countries. So it will be a panel today. Is a very important panel, how we see OEMs and supplier, that relationship evolving. And not better than to have a great team of panelists here with me to talk about it. And you will see quickly that the panelists, they all bring a different perspective. So we will try to make sure that we connect the dots, but we also open like 10, 15 minutes towards the end that we can get any questions. So be prepared to ask any questions, because we should have some minutes at the end to really ask more questions to the panelists. Greg, I'll start with you.
Sounds good. Thank you for the introduction. So my name is Greg Davidson. I work for Rolls-Royce Corporation, part of the Rolls-Royce PLC, the global company. How many actually think Rolls-Royce makes cars? Yeah, we don't. We actually do the power that protects. That's kind of our motto. So we are an aerospace company delivering engines for what you fly. And if anyone's flown internationally on some of the big airlines, typically we are powering those. If you ever look out the windows, you'll actually see the badge on the side of an engine. That is a Rolls-Royce powered engine. We power everything from a very small, about 3 to 4 feet, which puts about 700 horsepower out, all the way up to the 14-foot Trents that put out 96,000 pounds of thrust. So I work in our global supply chain. I'm responsible to purchase all of those parts. I was telling some of the other panelists, we have about 10,000 to 12,000 suppliers globally. We are a true global organization. We have people around the world working with us around the world. I come from Indianapolis, which is our defense kind of headquarters for the US, making everything from some of the newest technology that's recently been announced for the F-130 program, and the VX-75N, which is the brand new V-280 with our partner Bell Helicopter. So we have a great opportunity to find more cutting edge suppliers.
Beautiful.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Cooks. I run the Apex Accelerator at the Southland Development Authority. So here in the state of Illinois, we've got 10 separate centers, all geographically located throughout the state. And also the Apex Accelerators are available in all 50 states, along with Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. I won't say which one is the assignment that I would like to have, but I'm going to tell you the cost of living is probably going to be exceeding the salary coming from this program. But most importantly, the Apex Accelerator is funded by the Department of Defense. Our job, our mission, is to increase the defense industrial base. And we get there one, in this case, in manufacturing, one supplier at a time. These companies are great at what they do, and they need to learn how to navigate the landscape and to do business with the federal government, and certainly do business with the prime contractors that are in their industry and in their space. This program is obviously funded by the DoD, and we would love for you guys to make sure that your legislators understand how important this is to you guys. And the reason it's so important is that there are great companies out there that you may not be aware of, or great companies you already work with, and they need help with socioeconomic certifications. They need help with DIBS, CMMC, all of those resources we have ready and available for you guys to use at no cost. So if you've got a problem with a supplier and they need resources and you can't really give them that, send them to an Apex Accelerator in your state. Wherever they're registered to do business, they can engage with an Apex Accelerator. If you don't know how to find it, you can always reach out to me. But the most important thing is we're here to support, and to support a very tough mission of making sure we've got an immense amount of diversity when it comes to the supply chain for the DoD. Thank you.
Jamie.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jamie Goettler. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for a company called BTX Precision. We're a domestic advanced manufacturing organization. Build to print is essentially what we do. As of today, we are a multi-brand business unit structured company that is making parts for companies like Rolls-Royce, some of the other blue chip companies that you might know of, somebody like Honeywell or Lockheed Martin in aerospace and defense, Raytheon, but also within semiconductor, ASML, and some other companies like that. Medical parts, and industries that expect the most challenging and have the most forward-looking innovation. We like to position ourselves as an extension, and we'll probably talk about it that way today because collaboration will be part of what we talk about, but an extension of their engineering and their supply chain departments. We want to make their realities of the great products that they want to bring to market. We want to help them do that fast and help them with the most challenging and sophisticated manufacturing operations they have. So within the US, we have 15 locations, 7 business units, as I said. 6 of the 7 businesses today are advanced subtractive manufacturing. So a lot of 5-axis machining happening at those places. And then we have a division that is all DMLS, so metal 3D printing, focusing on just about any material, but predominantly titanium and Inconel printing is what we do. About 1,100 CNC machines across that enterprise. So we're a fast-growing company, and looking forward to meeting with all of you today and talking about how relationships, like we'll talk about, are important, but also how technology can help spur those things along as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
So as we see it, we have 3 different views of the topic that we're going to discuss today. And I'll start with you, Greg. I think as the OEM, and you talk about not only the complexity of the product you guys produce, but also the complexity of your supply chain, 10,000 suppliers or more. So how do you view the evolution of the relationship with the supplier base, and how this is, you looking forward, how do you, see that evolving?
Sure, thanks for the question. So probably 10 years ago, it was more of an OEM to supplier. We gave you a bid, we gave you a print, and we asked you to make it. And we didn't really worry about how you did it. We just needed that thing. Today's age is completely different. Our top priority is quality and safety. We fly people around and power that protect people and keep people safe no matter where they're going. Everything from our warriors that are at the heart of what we do here in Indianapolis, all the way to you folks when you get on an international plane or a plane in general, and making sure we get you there safe in the best way we possibly can, and also being efficient about it. So the changes, we really start to look at the other big part of us is now collaboration. And so we really look to partner with our suppliers. That relationship is drastically changing, and we want to be the partner. Obviously, cost is at a huge forefront of what we do. We have to make sure we're on target for costs. But really, it's that collaboration. It's also the technology piece that we need to see. As we've all probably mentioned, there's some CMMC. That is a big part of what we're doing, especially in Indianapolis. The Defense Department, we can't stall any longer. It is the reality. It is coming for us. They are going to expect it. Cyber attacks are real. We have to be prepared for it. At Rolls-Royce, we do a lot with MxD about partnering with them and partnering with our suppliers to provide that support. We have an entire team on some of our cybersecurity that we make available to many of our suppliers to ask questions, or we can direct them to some, like Chris over here, we can direct them in that direction so they can get the resources available. But it's really about that technology. What we're seeing today is really about bringing technology, about bringing low, kind of that high volume where you're using automation everywhere we do it. So machines that are being fed by a conveyor system of parts that are coming into it, where we're reducing the amount of people we need to make that part that we need. And like you mentioned, we have about 10,000 suppliers. We have about $4.5 billion in spend in supply chain for Rolls-Royce across our global. So right now, we need suppliers that can make it on time and very, very quickly, but also can do it in a way that is sustainable for capacity for the future. So what we see today as an OEM is there is more demand than there is capacity in the environment. So if anyone's been on a long international plane recently, there's not a seat available anymore. That is a change. When I was in COVID, flying around, a flight attendant literally told me, pick a seat, it doesn't matter, there's only 10 of you on the plane. It's great, awesome. I'll go pick the back row because it'll be fun. But yeah, so that changed. Now you walk on the plane and it's 300 of your closest friends all sitting together. And now there's a wait list of people trying to get on that plane. So that demand has gone completely crazy. And we are working at Rolls-Royce to get all those engines to our customers like Airbus and Boeing. But what we need is those suppliers that are coming up with technology, that are collaborating us with, like Jamie over here, where they're working with our engineering teams. We're sharing data directly. We're not FedExing a print. We're not sending a 2D print. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to send you a CAD model, have our suppliers interact with it, tell us where we can improve, and bring it back to us and say, can we make these changes? Like I said, and then kind of our kind of not man equals machine concepts anymore, or women. We're really looking for ones that are truly an automated facility.
This is awesome. Greg, I think you brought us some points that I'll turn over to James because I think James, as one of the leading contract manufacturers, if I can call it, BTX, I would love to get your perspective. I think Greg touched on a couple of topics: costs, collaboration, quality.
We don't think cost is important, but everything else I agree with.
So we have a great relationship.
But I want that you share a little bit of your view, but also important. And today in the morning we spoke a lot about cybersecurity, digital manufacturing, how you keep up with this. Like a company like you, how you continue to invest to make sure that you're supplying correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to answer. There's a lot of things from what Greg had outlined, and the way that I think about it, frankly, is like almost when I met my wife. There were certain things she cared about, and I wanted to be all those things. If I checked all those boxes, then that'll be my girlfriend, and one day maybe become my wife, and that works. The same thing happened with somebody like Rolls-Royce. They care about price. All right, so are we able to do that? They care about quality. They care about on-time delivery. They care about collaboration. So you should aspire to want to be the best partner that you can be, and that's what Greg talks a lot about. As a supplier to companies like Greg's, that's the most important thing. What's important to them, and can we come through for them in times of need? So that begins with our capability set. Do we have the capabilities to do the things that they need us to do? And the answer would probably be yes. Then you have to start to think about technology and how it can influence. Now, Greg might talk about it as an OEM from man, I need you to pump out as many parts as you can because I have a backlog this long and you need to help me support that. For us, of course, we want to support that, but the labor pool has not been there, particularly in advanced manufacturing, machining, and the like. So it forces our hand from an automation standpoint to go that route. So we've been dabbling quite a bit in automation, lights out shifts. And now, with vision systems and other things that are out there, we're starting to say, boy, there's more that they can do. That does not discount the human element whatsoever. We care more about people and jobs than you can imagine. But there are certain jobs I would rather see a robot doing than a human doing. I'm going to take that human and have them do something else in there. So technology that way. We talked about collaboration as well. And sharing CAD models. We use an automated quoting system. It's not fully automated. Essentially what we do is we'll accept in through a secure server location a CAD file, and it'll instantly interrogate it using AI and other methods of, if you ever think about some of what's referred to as kind of the cryptic knowledge that might leave as somebody retires or goes to somewhere else. Well, we've added that to our quoting technology to allow it to interrogate it, highlight any problem areas, maybe balloon out the tolerances, and do something that used to take us days and days to get done, and now take us hours. Okay, so we've gotten a lot of that done, but we might look at that and say, this is probably a 10-week thing, and then Greg's team might call me and say, hey, listen, this thing needs to be in 3 weeks. Okay, so how can we shorten that? So we'll do some DFM with them, but now you can do that virtually. You don't need to send me an email, which you shouldn't be sending me emails if it's a CMMC thing. So the secure portal will allow us to communicate, collaborate, do some DFM work to not only have it hit the timelines, but maybe do some cost reductions along the way. So, where I started was be the best partner that you can be. Every one of our customers has some slight nuance to what they care mostly about, and it's up to us to make sure that we're appealing to that and being the best supplier we can be. Technology always starts to come into the forefront. Rodrigo, the only thing that you didn't mention, or that you mentioned that I hadn't spoken about yet, was CMMC. we saw this coming a mile away. Where I came from, before I was at BTX, I've been here about a year and a half. I spent 23 years with MSC Industrial Supply, and I led their metalworking efforts there for quite some time. And I was fortunate to be able to collaborate with DOE, DOD at the time, do workforce training and some other things. And I was hearing about CMMC back in those early days because of hanging around with those kind of folks. And when we got here, one of my peers is here who leads our CMMC effort. We saw this coming, and when it hits, it's going to hit fast. And a lot of folks are going to go, oh my God, what do we do now? We're ahead of that ball. We're happy that we are. We're excited for what happens on November 10th, but I'm a little bit scared for the supplier base that Greg has. But Luka over here, Luka Doncic look like is going to help them out, right, aren't you?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, supplier diversity is imperative to getting the job done. And back to the relationships. Every one of us in this room has had a relationship, and it's either advanced or decayed, depending on how much time and energy we put into that relationship. And that is essential for my programming, is to tell you and show you where the next steps are. Because if there is an advanced technology being worked on, we can tell you what's going to be coming, what's going to be implemented, who are the players in that market. And this is a strategy choice for your business to become a supplier for Rolls-Royce or to be a material supplier for BTX. We can tell you through data, as in dollars going out, who is actually doing business and how do they do business. And that's really fun and exciting because we can solve a lot of problems with you guys as manufacturers and your capabilities and capacities.
And that's a very important point, and I'll come back to both of you in a few minutes, but I think picking up on what you just described, because I think we saw the OEM and the supplier, and then I think Apex come in to support that. And earlier today we heard that only 2% of the manufacturers are large manufacturers, so a lot of it is coming from the smaller manufacturers. Mm-hmm. How do you see it? I mean, given everything that is happening today, not only cybersecurity, but digital manufacturing, how do you see that is happening in the US, and especially how you have been helping? I know here in the Chicago area, the evolution and so on.
Yep. So here in the Chicagoland, specifically the south suburbs, we have some of the densest manufacturing capabilities here in the United States. And then you've got logistics behind it. And we're on the interior of the country. These are all things that the DoD needs. And by the way, if you can work as part of the suppliers for any of these companies that do DoD work, you can be part of their commercial supply chain. You can be part of their defense supply chain. There's an inroads into getting there. And the most exciting thing is that here in Cook County specifically, we still have the ability to develop, as in building facilities. We have the power, we have the real estate, we have everything that's necessary here. So a lot of companies are looking at this going, well, I guess the O'Hare Airport will be very busy. Yes, of course it will be, because there's so much business going through this part of the country. And we have a big shift coming with the demographic of manufacturers. A lot of them are getting to the point of retirement where grandchildren and the future that they have built towards is something that they want to reap and reward. But without making the necessary investments in their business, it's just going to go to a vacant property, and it's going to look a lot like the Rust Belt does. But more importantly, these guys here are all looking for the companies here in the south suburbs and the Chicagoland area to say, what do you do? How do you do it? I might need that. Wait, can you tell me more? And that's where the Apex steps in and says, we can connect the dots for you. If you're a machine shop that uses 5-axis machines, and let's say, your CNC portion, you're going, man, I wish I could get my machines running at 3,000 hours a year, right? Well, let us diversify your portfolio. There's something that you can do in the commercial sector that can earn you an opportunity to work in the defense sector. And a lot of companies are open to this, and if you can work with the Apex to become technically proficient in the administrative work that's necessary to do business with the DoD, then we can get you a great capability statement. We can get you a capability briefing. We can have you talk with the Air Force or with the Army or with the or even Army Corps of Engineers. We have those relationships, so you can be in their Rolodex, because what happens is many times as contractors have difficulties in producing items, they call their contract officer and say, hey, not good news, but just found out I've got some problems with time and delivery. And they go, I'm so glad you called. Let me get my Rolodex out. I got a few companies that are very good at saving the day, and you just finished your capability briefing with them. You've built that relationship. You've built that trust. They're handing it over to the people at Rolls-Royce or at BTX to say, give them a call. They know what they're talking about. It's worth you having a conversation with them to fill the gap that you're experiencing in a project that has deadlines. So most importantly, Apex is a resource for everybody in this room. If you think, oh, it's not for me, have a conversation with any of your Apex accelerators in any of the states that you do business with. We have a way for you to engage with suppliers. We have ways for you to engage with agencies. We fill the entire gap for the DoD. They're very busy doing the work. We're very busy supporting everybody. And specifically here in Cook County, we have programs like Metals Hub that is meant to help get businesses ready to do business with OEMs across the country, because they need help too. The suppliers are dwindling as we speak. So there's an immense amount of resources here in Cook County, including MxD. These are all meant to be leveraged, and leverage them to the farthest extent that you can, because at most cases, they're at no cost. And at some cases, your dollar goes a lot farther with business support organizations to get you the right foundation to start doing business and really advancing your company.
And Chris, it's interesting. Last week I was here in Chicago as well, and I was with a very large manufacturer, local manufacturer. And I had the opportunity to meet with some local authorities, and I was very impressed with the work that they are doing, especially in terms of AI skills and like machine learning. And it's unbelievable. I mean, the city is building, especially the south side of the city. I was very impressed. I think it is very aligned to what you just described.
And we also have an event coming up called Forge 5 on October 22nd. It'll be hosted at the Daly College, where they're taking all of this advanced manufacturing and getting young people involved and getting them interested, so they're ready to hit the floor at your manufacturing facilities. They're ready to do the work. They've touched the technology. They've got introduced to it. And we are in a great spot where people are seeing opportunity to go back to manufacturing, because it's not dirty, it's not dusty, it's not noisy. If you've been to any of the expos, we're having conversations while machines are cutting, bending, you name it. It's all happening, and the young people are seeing an opportunity to operate these machines. And if they get to work with experienced people today that have run lathes and run the machines that are becoming antiquated because technology is ramping up, they have the eyes, the ears, and the experience to tell the young operators that have the technological advantage, hey, if you see, hear, smell, or even taste something wrong, listen, this is what you need to look out for. Shut down the machine. We can always figure something out if you shut it down before we have a catastrophic failure. And I think that's an amazing opportunity. All the schools are tooled up to do this. Any of you guys that are manufacturers, reach out to your colleges, reach out to the county, reach out to them, because they are actively wanting to get their young people hired in the positions that you're looking for.
And it's not dirty today, because I think when we always started, it was a little bit dirty.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
So before we go to questions, I think just one question for you and Greg, and probably Jamie can help. You talk about collaboration, but also we talk a lot about moving from providing products to providing more, the service around and so on. We'd love to get your perspective on how you see the evolution of that cycle as well.
Absolutely. Rolls-Royce has kind of gone from an idea that a supplier just provides a part to us and that's all we ask for. Really, we're not, we want someone that's that collaborational partner with us. And that really stems from both obviously manufacturing a part for us, but it also kind of what Jamie alluded to, it's DFM events that are going to reduce our cost. It's talking about where they're going with their technology. So we interact with a lot of suppliers saying, where do you see your business going in the next 5 or 10 years? That's actually one of my main jobs as a strategist, is what are you guys going to? How are you guys creating, as you saw probably MxD, the digital twin? How are you bringing that forward? Because that is becoming a huge part of what Rolls-Royce is going to want and expect from our future supply chain. We want those complete digital views. We want to know if there's a concern about a part, we can dig into every part of that operation and know about it. And our engineers, between the Rolls-Royce engineering, which there's about 15,000 Rolls-Royce engineers around the world, they are interacting on a daily basis with our supply chains engineers, both looking for cost reductions, part of our goal in our job, but also how do we ensure if something's going wrong, like Chris mentioned, how can we get in front of it? How can we save the part? The days where we have a stockpile of part are gone. We need every part that comes into our facility to be right and right on time, without exceptions. The other big one we are looking at is the inspection. Taking that digital picture, inspecting digitally, inspecting with AI, taking away some guy, unfortunately a guy or girl reading a huge litmus of data points. We inspect it. In aerospace, we inspect everything 100% of the time without fail, without question. And then the big one is, as Chris alluded to, finding those colleges and those resources that are more technology advanced. So the days of manually controlling a machine are gone. It's all digital. And then what we also really expect is a digital collaboration with ourselves. So when a part's coming out, we want a couple days notice. We want you to put in all your dates into a portal, into the information that is bleeding into our planning and control system. We want that all to be digitally happening every day as fast as we can. Rolls-Royce is still working towards it, so don't think an OEM's got it all figured out. We are still really working hard at it, but we are running there as fast as we can, and I know Rolls-Royce is a large company, but we're putting millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into our IT systems over the years to really bring that forward, to go on the cutting edge of technology.
Awesome. Jamie, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would add, think about, you made me think about it a little bit ago, and it fits here is visibility for these guys, right? And what I mean by that is there's something we recently did at BTX that I think that we know early on is helping some of our blue chip customers or innovative customers. But then there's other things that can happen. And visibility, what it does is it saves time and it gives you assurance, right? So if somebody tells you, hear a rumor about something, but you actually see it, you feel differently about it, right? So what we developed, and this is not a commercial for BTX, I promise, but we developed a website that you can go and interact with as an engineer that says, here's the type of equipment that I need, and here's the final size of a part that I need to manufacture. So it might be, I need an EDM machine that can do a part that's about this size, or I need a very large part on a 5-axis milling machine, and I want it to be a palletized machine so it can run overnight. You're able to click all those things. Well, your engineers and engineers of our customers are able to go on there, and they know when they talk to us, we have the capability set to help them. And that's a really cool thing. So visibility into things just from data sets that are out there. But then for anybody in here, I'm ashamed to say that, yeah, I've ordered Domino's pizza before. There's better pizza than Domino's, certainly in Chicago. However, if you've ever ordered from Domino's, you know that there's the pizza app that tells you when it's coming. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's visibility there. That makes you feel good. Like you know it's coming out of the oven. The driver, Joe's driving it, it's on its way, and then Joe enters your neighborhood and you're getting up off the couch and you're ready to go and grab your pizza. Like, I want to be able to build something for our customers that says, hey, look, your part is in the oven or your part is in the CNC machine, and Jamie is cooking it up, and it's going to be off of this inspection equipment in another couple days, and you should get this on time, and give them that kind of assurance. And how does that happen? That happens through secure cloud computing, through trust and collaboration, data sharing, and commitment, those kind of things. I think all of that, Rodrigo, made me think about that.
Absolutely, that's a great point. And that definitely, I mean, the impact in cost and working capital is fantastic.
I wanted to add one more thing, Rodrigo.
Go ahead.
Also, the Apex Accelerator, we work to do matchmaking events. So we want you guys as manufacturers to be able to talk to agencies, be able to talk to primes. And we have a very, very fortunate that we are in the Chicagoland area. And we set them for Thursdays, so that long weekend, they get to enjoy the city. But we have to do our work of getting you guys to come to our events. And that way, the agencies and the primes come to the event and they go, I had a great time. I got to meet a lot of people. And it's that two-way street to get back to the topic here, is going, I came to learn more about you, they came to learn more about you, then the relationship starts to come together. As long as you're poised and ready for the opportunity, which the Apex will help you do, then you will have a great outcome. The worst outcome I've ever seen is someone come back to me and say, Chris, I would really like a much better capability statement, and I learned my lesson by being underprepared. And I said, there's always another matchmaking event, there's always an opportunity to make a new relationship, and so we are happy to foster that, and we do have an event coming up that will have about 800 attendees coming on December 4th as well. So look to us as a resource. We're here to help in many, many ways.
That's awesome. Yep. Very good. Let's open for questions. I think we have about 11 minutes, 10 minutes.
Hi, my name's Margaret. I'm a CNC machinist from Buffalo who moved to Chicago and went to school at Daly and did,
Yeah, awesome.
So that was fun to see all that. But I have a question about bridging the gap between someone who's really technically skilled and a newer engineer who is going to be doing the drawings, is going to be making the decisions about what and you're going to make, because that's something that I've noticed in my journey through this, is it becomes difficult to connect with the engineers. And yeah, Christopher, is your company doing anything to communicate to kind of that upper middle level of like engineering?
So we get asks from agencies and from primes, and more poignantly, the contract officers say, leave your salesman at the sales desk. We need the nerds to nerd out, engineer to engineer, because the salesman isn't the technical expert. And so when you get a capability briefing, it's you and the agency talking technically about what are your capabilities, what are your capacities, how can you help us on future forecasted contracts, and then that's where you guys get to shine. The people that are the true makers of the things that we need. Like, they are wanting to hear all that. Yes, of course the CEO is there. Of course the VP of sales is there. All those people are sitting at the table, but the contract officers are going, where are the engineers? We are only looking to really talk about technical stuff. So we will be your advocate as the people that do it and are engineering and technically able to, or speak to the technicalities of what you're trying to produce. I'll tell your VPs, I'll tell the people that are managing you, go, here's your star. They're going to be able to win you the opportunity. They're going to get you the advancement that you need with the relationship because you listened that they only want to really talk technical capabilities. They're not really interested in holiday parties or things like that because sometimes they're not allowed to go.
Margaret, I would add to your question, we have a business in Rochester, so not too far from you, but 100,000 square feet, probably 50 CNC machines and so on and so forth in there. And hard to find folks in Rochester. I know Buffalo is really a burgeoning area for the type of work you do, so that should serve you well. But in the face of some of the skilled labor challenges we have in Rochester, what we found ourselves doing across BTX is taking folks like yourself that I can tell have a motivation to want to do more, to want to take on more challenges and expand your capability set, is we're offering them training and allowing them to get to know some of that more engineering aspect because their hands-on aspect is already there. And rather than back in the old days, there used to be an estimator that would hand it off to somebody that would create a process sheet, that would hand it off to somebody that would create the program, that would hand it off to a setup person, that would hand it off to a machinist. We have all of those being done by one person now. And they kind of own that project from beginning to end, and there's a little bit of pride and ownership in that. And those people make quite a bit of money, but they are worth every single cent of it. So it gives you an opportunity for some upward mobility and taking on some bigger challenges and solves a problem for companies like ours that can't find enough Margarets out there. Yep.
Hello, I'm Jorge Izquierdo with PMMI, a trade association, manufacturers of packaging processing equipment. In the past several months, duties and tariffs have created a significant amount of uncertainty in terms of prices, sometimes even delivery times for components. How are you addressing all these uncertainties and still maintain the trust relationship between OEMs and suppliers?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So obviously one of those is we at Rolls-Royce are going down levels we've never gone to before. So today one of the things I do is I actually order small alloy billets of titanium, steel, and aluminum and nickel. So we are helping our suppliers with that where a smaller supplier is not going to be asked to go up against a PCC or CPP of the world. Who is a very large multi-billion-dollar company. Rolls-Royce is going to take that on as an OEM for our suppliers and actually working with you guys to order it, but order it under our control and under our terms that we've negotiated. So that's really the other big help. The other thing we're also doing is giving them resources. We have logistic services and packing services that we can bring them over into us that work with us on a daily basis. We joke down in Indy, FedEx is our best friends because we see all of our package coming out. We move about 5,000 to 10,000 packages a year out of our about 4 million square feet logistic facility down in Indianapolis. If anyone's been to Indianapolis, we are the warehousing, I call us, we're the warehousers of the world. There's a new one every day. We are helping our suppliers get into that. If they have an issue with packaging or any of those, we have the resources and we are happy to connect you with the proper resources. And then we also at times do collaborations with some of our larger suppliers to say, hey, why don't you, we'll call BTS for example and say, hey, can you talk to this smaller supplier and kind of guide them and help them through it. Typically, obviously, we don't put them in competitive markets, but we will look for collaborations between a small and a large to kind of give them that bridge between them. We do it many times. We also send our own team. We are about 35,000 people strong in Rolls-Royce. We have no problem sending lots of engineering down. To Margaret's point a little bit back there is we have an engineering team that honestly our manufacturing engineering for production people, they love to travel. They spend more time in the suitcases than they do at our global offices. They love to go to suppliers and impart that knowledge. So if you ever get a chance to work with an OEM, please don't be afraid to ask a question. If you're unsure, our team will be happy to answer those questions and embark on the knowledge. A lot of our senior engineers that go to suppliers have 25 years or more experience. That's typically who we go and look for. And they have nothing more than a desire to embark that knowledge on our supply chain. Because it really benefits an OEM if we get a supplier that can do everything we need to do and they can build up their own systems and their own technology.
Awesome.
I'll add one thing to that. We have clients that do amazing things. They just don't know how to communicate it well. I have a non-ferrous foundry located in the south suburbs. They can make you any type of non-ferrous alloy that you ask for. If you need a billet, they can make it for you. They can do small castings because they're not a very large foundry. Their niche is putting what they cast in the electron spectrometer and going, it's exactly what the customer ordered. Let's go. This is an alloy that is needed for whatever reason. We are able to cast it and then send it on its way to the next process. So we have those people, just ask.
Awesome.
So Jamie, you were saying that you take the capability statement to your customers to say what you can do, which makes me assume then that when you innovate in those capabilities, that it's not just driven by your customer, that you're trying to do it proactively. How do you read that crystal ball of your customers to ensure that you're investing appropriately, and how do you make those decisions?
Yeah, so there's a long answer to this. I'll try to shorten it as much as I can, but I'm always happy to talk afterwards. Because we know that the end users care most about quality. Number one, it's got to be quality. So if a technology contributes to better quality, that's important. They want on time. So if there's things that can have us be more reliable, if there's things that can have us be faster than what our stated lead times are, I'm investigating 3D scanning technology instead of a CMM right now. They're down to a half thou that they're able to measure. That allows me to get more throughput, my plans, and then to the end user. Collaboration with something, we've invested in software for secure collaboration. That's what they care about. There's more things that the end user cares about. What I care about is I care about productivity in the face of the manufacturing skills gap. I care about throughput so we can grow sales of our business, and I care about our competitiveness, and that both speaks in terms of profitability and competitiveness out there. So what technologies can help me and help them? If I find something that does something for both sides, then it's a sure winner.
I think one more question. Yeah, one more.
Hey, appreciate the conversation. It's great. I did have a question as far as where you think you are on your journey from where you want to be to where you're going or want to get to with your supplier and supply chain, whatnot. And for Greg, I am out of Indianapolis, and I spent a portion of my career at Rolls-Royce, so I have a little insight as to what you're dealing with.
Yeah. So thank you for that question. So for where we see ours going, where we are now is we are emerging out of our technology. I'm not gonna lie, we still use a lot of 2D paper drawing for some of our older applications. Something great about Rolls-Royce is if you get on a defense product, you're probably on it for 50 plus years. Actually, in a couple weeks, I'm traveling down to Lockheed Martin talk about our C-130 aircraft with them. Just as a note, that was produced in 1956 was the original inception date. They still fly today, and customers around the world buy about 40 of those a year, so there's still 100 plus engines, 4 engines per aircraft. It's a great business for Rolls, but you see 1956. So where we are going in the future is all about, and we put it into Rolls-Royce, we are going all about automation, digital twinning, and then also automated inspection. So we're starting to use robots more and more than we ever have before. And that's kind of where we're expecting our suppliers to come on that journey with us. It's not a journey we expect them to develop completely on their own, but that's what we're gonna start to expect. We're gonna expect those clean floors, those highly automated facilities with dashboards, with bars, so we know exactly orders that are coming through. It's a joke. It's going to start to look like the Googles of the world is what we think our next manufacturing. It will be a machine, but the back house will be looking like Google with a bunch of really nerdy people making really cool stuff. And the example I give is when we bring on a new supplier, we spend, it usually takes about a year or more before they cut the first chip on a part. To even know if we're gonna go through all their engineering documents, we're gonna go through every single plan that they have, we're gonna make sure that their planning software is perfect and on time. We don't have enough material around the world to just cut and hope. We have one shot. Typically things for us when we certify them, they go into an engine. And so we test them on our engine test bed centers. That is a very expensive activity for Rolls-Royce, and we gotta know it's right. So like I say, you've gotta show the technology and bring us along, and we'll be there to help you, and we'll impart our knowledge that we think we have, but we're not always gonna be right. But I know we're probably over, so if there's questions for me, I'm glad to stay after, so.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.